Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to another video. So today I've got something a little different for you. So it's not a new car, but we're actually going to start working on this car. So it is the JZA80, the Mark IV Supra. Whilst it has been a fun little car with its 2JZ GE, I think it's time for it to be a little more. So the Mark III Supra is still and always will be my main car. This Mark IV is sort of a company car for Agile, so we just want to build it up and have it be a little bit more exciting. It's a good promo car. So yeah, so this will be a long process, but we've got to start somewhere. So first things first, we'll be putting a roll cage in it, but we will be doing a motor swap, and I'll probably go over our options for that today. But just before I head over to Willie's and crack into that, just picking up a ECU to send out. So if you're after an ECU, link specifically, Agile, we are dealers, and so this one is going off to Japan for a GD4 Celica. So yeah, if you're after an ECU, give us a buzz, either through the Instagram page or through the Agile page. It will be me that answers, and we will sort out some sort of deal for you. So I just got down to Willie's now. So I'm sure most of you should know anyway. Here is our Mark IV Supra. There's a 2JZ GE with an R155 Hilux gearbox. And yeah, it's been a bit of fun. Bit of a sort of test car for trying out and making parts, and also just a bit of fun to drive around. But it's time to sort of transform it into something a little bit more exciting.
G'day, I'm Willie.
I'm Scott.
We're from Agile Performance, and this is our toy. We've had this for a few years now. It's mostly been a test and development car for some parts. It's pretty basic in terms of a competition car. Well, it's not a competition car, it's just a fun car. It has been a fun car. It has been a very fun car for taking out, going drifting, doing some skids, and it's been very valuable for developing new parts. But the time has come to step it up to something a bit more serious.
A bit more exciting, you know?
Yeah, because at the moment it's just a one-trick pony. It's good for a particular low-speed drift track. So we want to add some more power, and we want to put all the gear in it to make it so we can compete with any event we wanted. So that means
need a roll cage in it.
Roll cage, and all the fruit that's going to go with the roll cage. So harnesses and seats and proper suspension. When I mean suspension, I mean some proper dampers. It's obviously got all the Agile suspension in it at the moment, which works really nice. But there's a lot of things that we want to.
$200 D2 coilovers that are knocking can probably go away, and we'll get some quality items in there.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So the main question is, what are we going to do with the engine? So currently she's got what she came with, which is the Powerhouse 2JZ GE, and that's not really going to cut it for us. I guess the obvious thing to do would be to
7M.
Obviously 7M it.
He doesn't like that idea.
We don't all have that sickness though. So we're going to put something a bit different in it. So
there's a couple of choices.
There's a few choices.
Yeah.
The obvious one is to turbocharge the 2JZ that's in there.
Sounds really boring.
Yeah,
a plus T2J. How exciting could you get?
I've seen it would work though, and it would be good, and it would make lots of easy
I know. It's done all the time because it's the smart choice. But this isn't our main car. This is to be an exhibition, a bit of fun.
So. This is something we want to show off, and something that we want people to take notice of, and a 2JZ GE plus T is not very interesting, in our minds anyway. So yeah, there's a few options. 7M, that would be pretty cool.
It would upset a lot of people, eh?
It would.
Yeah, B58.
Yeah, we don't have that kind of money.
No, that's probably not the budget.
It's a cheap car.
Yeah.
RB.
No, I've seen that before. That made me vomit.
I guess what would make sense would be an LS.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Too many push rods for me personally.
So I guess part of the deciding factor of engine choices might be what we've actually got available, you know?
Yeah, we don't have a lot of money to spend, but we do have some shit kicking around in the shed.
So what about this one?
Well, it's been sitting here for a few years now, and it's looking a bit dusty and needed some love. So this is a V12 from a Toyota Century. But we're not going to use this.
No, that's been done.
Yeah, there's some other guys doing that on the internet.
Yeah, and they've got bigger budgets, like for billet intakes and all this kind of stuff. So there's no point competing with that.
No. It's a bit too big and heavy as well. So we want to make our car a bit more agile.
Yeah. What do you reckon, like Toyota might have done back in the day when they started racing them?
Well, they put 4-cylinder in it.
A 4-cylinder.
Yeah.
You got any of those?
I think we might do.
I'll see what we've got.
So I found a 4-cylinder lying around. Here we have a Camry motor, 5S FE. It made 120 horsepower.
That doesn't sound very exciting. What are we going to do with that?
Well, it's going to be the basis for a special motor. So that'll be the basis. So we're going to use the crank and the block, 2.2 litre, combined with a high flowing cylinder head.
Sweet. Well, you got one of those?
I've got one of those too.
Alright, let's go. Let's see what else we've got in the shed.
So we've got our Camry block, and this is what's going to go on top of the Camry block. So this is a 3S GE black top from an Altezza. So these are a JDM engine. I don't think they got them anywhere else. So this is the ultimate 3S GE with the dual variable valve timing and the titanium valve springs. No, titanium valves. They got quite aggressive high lift cams. So they're essentially like a highly strung 3S GE. And what we're going to do is put this head onto the 5S block. So it's going to be a 5S GTE beams, the ultimate S engine. And back in the day, in the 90s, the Mark IV Supra for the Japanese touring car championship.
Yeah.
So they took out the 2J and put in a 4-cylinder, very closely related to the 3S, called a 503E block. And so they were a specially built Toyota racing engine, which is related to the 3S. We don't have one of those, so we're going to use an S engine.
No, well, anyway, that's the motor, that's the plan.
That's the plan. We're going to put a 3S GTE 2.2 litre beams into our Mark IV.
Yeah, it'll bolt up to our gearbox as well until we can afford to get a sequential for that one too.
One day.
One day.
But before we do any of this, we're going to put a cage in it.
Yeah. So
I guess we'll go.
Yeah, I guess we'll go start to clean up the car now, gut the interior, and start to map out a cage. Well, first thing we're going to do is tidy up, remove the interior, because got to get a cage done. Got to get rid of that seat, which is a bit sloppy, and the factory seat can go away, factory belts can go away. But yeah, basically we're just going to finish gutting it so that we can start on the mapping out and fabrication of the cage. Right, we've got the dash out now and pulled back some of this wiring to clear it out of the way. We're going to have a bit of a clean up as well because it is disgusting.
We're also going to make a big mess as well.
We are, yeah.
But it'd be nice to start with a tidy car.
Yeah, sort of organise all of this bits and pieces into boxes so we can choose what we want to put back together when we put it back together. Just discussing the biggest regret that I've got with my car is I removed my heater core. So making sure we leave the heater core in this one, and just make everything else work around it. So yeah, it's just going to tool all this wiring box off the side here, clear that out of the way, and I guess we start mapping out what we want to do.
Yeah, start taking back some paint and maybe some sound deadening as well. I don't know if we want to get some dry ice or we want to slave away. I haven't tried the dry ice trick, so I'd be quite keen to give that a go.
Yeah, I did on my Mark III. I just, honestly, it came off so easy. I just chiseled and it just came off in massive chunks. It was about 3 times as thick as that though.
Yeah.
So could give it a go.
Yeah, we'll give it a go. We might, yeah,
It looks a bit chewy, but otherwise, yeah, we'll get some dry ice and take it off that way. Well, it turns out the screwdriver's making pretty short work of this, so I'll just knock it off.
Yeah, by the time we drive to the place to get the dry ice, pay the man some money, we'll just have it done before we do any of that, so we'll just slave away with the chiseling. Most important part of the sound deadening to remove is where the front footing box goes. Scott's having heaps of fun there.
Oh yeah. Coming off in tiny little pieces.
What did you say about the dry ice, eh?
Yeah, it might be worth the trip eventually. See how much more I can get of this off before I pack a sad and go buy some.